Hello and welcome. How is everybody doing this Friday?
Good.
Good.
Ready to talk real estate.
Yeah, we are the Real Estate Lab, and we are here with a special guest today. We will be talking about Austin overpriced. Yes, no, maybe so. What do you think? It's no secret that Austin is on the housing market right now. Every day we get phone calls, what's going on? And so we're here to answer all of your questions about the market that you can get. Austin's, ABOR, the Austin Board of Realtors came out with the median home price being around $550. Okay, so what does that get you? What does that get you here? So I'm going to go around, introduce everybody. I, of course, am Liberty Walker, Realty Austin, realtor here in Austin, Texas. Right now, I'm sitting in Realty Austin's office at the Triangle. So let's go up and around. Ian, where are you at? You look like you're having a grand old time.
I'm at Pecan Street Cafe in Pflugerville, Texas. Hey everybody, I'm Ian of Austin. I go by that everywhere on the internet. I'm here because I want to shake things up a bit and have different backgrounds, get to experience different places around town because I like to be a patron to our business. And Pflugerville is kind of hot off the charts. We're not talking about Pflugerville today. We're talking about Austin proper though. So let's move on over to JJ.
What's up, y'all? JJ Tolentino with the Next Level Property Group at KW. And yeah, excited to talk about the market because there are record-setting numbers. We're at some peak numbers. We could talk about if it's a peak or if it's going to continue to peak. And I'll pass it on to Mr. Matthew Posey with some home loans.
Well, I wanted to say thank you for inviting me today. My name is Matthew Posey. I'm a mortgage lender with Axia Home Loans here in Austin. I've been doing this for a long, long time and always happy to talk up real estate and our housing market.
Welcome and thank you for joining us. I have so many questions for you, so I'm so glad that you're here.
I'm here to help.
So what's been going on? I mean, home sales in the city of Austin have skyrocketed to 51.4% in April 2021. I mean, us as realtors, we're having to create CMAs for homes during our property searches, sometimes daily, because that's how quickly home prices are rising. So let's talk about that. What's affecting?
I'll pull up the stats.
Yes, pull the stats in so we can take it. And what is overvalued? Because I will get the question a lot. I don't want to overpay for a home. So what does that mean? You hear people are paying over list price. So homes are hitting the market at one price point and then selling for another. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing in the field. I mean, in the beginning of January is kind of when this whole thing started, at least in my opinion. What about you guys? Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, it's always been a seller's market. I remember it picking up steam in 2012. It's definitely been snowballing, and it's crazy. January was definitely, it got super crazy.
I remember having a listing in November of 2020 thinking, I don't know why people aren't gobbling this up. And if we would have stayed on the market even one more month, we probably would have exceeded our expectations considerably because, I'd say toward the end of December, early January, it just skyrocketed. People were, having their FOMO about houses, realizing that, this whole pandemic thing, you need a house. And they realized Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner or whatever types of celebration they have in their houses, if their houses were too small, that's when it hit them. And that's when they said, we need to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. So we're seeing it. So how are we talking to our buyers and what does it mean? What does it mean to have an overpriced house? I mean, Matthew, can you shed some light on that? Like when you see that question coming in, is this house, is it overpriced for an investment standpoint? Like, what am I doing here?
Well, when you look at it, it's not just what is the house priced at, right? So the difference between listing and contract versus market value. So there's opinions when you get into the details. We look at it kind of like you would let's say another return on your investment, like a PE ratio, right? To say, hey, is it overvalued is a question of it's going to cost me X to get X plus X or X minus. So when we know that home prices are increasing at a clip of 30+% month over month, that's also compounded, then is it going to cost me a little bit of money knowing that by the end of the month, the quarter of the year, next year, 5 years, it's going to make me more money back? Is it expensive? Is it affordable? From my perspective, my job, it's not my job to tell them that it's expensive. It's my job to make sure that they're really comfortable with it, right? A lot of what we do in finance is debt management, and we want to make sure that they are not only qualified, but happy. And if those two things line up, they find affordability and it's worth it for them, then we're here to help facilitate and get them across the finish line.
That's a good point, because sometimes when you see those prices and you see where they were a year ago, it can be jarring, shocking. Yeah. But if you say, well, are we overpriced now or were we underpriced then? So I feel like there's a lot of, it's a perspective on pricing. And I love how you said the comfortable aspect of it, because if you take it day by day, it can be a little bit less overwhelming than if you just look at that big ticket home and say, wow, like, am I really about to spend $500,000 on a 3-2, in Colony Park? I don't know.
And I agree. It's wholeheartedly, Liberty. It's one of those where it's a perception. What I find affordable, the other person may not. We're blessed to be in this Austin, Texas area where a lot of the newer home buyers and newer people coming into the market are young, tech, well-paid professionals. Your millennials, who for the longest time got the bad rap, they're the number one home buyer right now, right? So now that they have finished their education, they've established themselves in their career, they may be starting families. Now they're looking to settle down. So we all know from Economics 101 that price is discovered where supply and demand intersect. The difference is you have a copious amounts of demand and not a lot of supply. You've had a lot of demand since 2018. You mentioned before that we've been in a seller's market since 2012, 100% correct. We haven't seen a buyer's market in a really long time. So this is nothing we haven't seen before. We haven't seen it at this velocity and this amount really ever in my career. Now I've only been doing this since 2001, but it's considerable difference in this market than other markets we've seen. But rest assured, anyone who's watching, people are going up under contract all the time. These three real estate professionals are putting contracts on the board day in, day out and helping homeowners, future homeowners, families get into a house that they love and that they're comfortable with. So don't be fearful that you can't. Just find out if you can and check it off the worry list.
Yes.
Really
arming yourself. First, thank you. Thank you for that. And also arming yourself with the information, because someone like Matthew can really break it down. Like, what's the difference from $475 home? What's my monthly payments going to be for that home versus $550? It may shock you at the difference. I don't know. It depends up to you, obviously, of your comfort level. So please make your budget. But wouldn't you agree, JJ?
Yeah, there's definitely different, value is in the eye of the beholder. I have a feeling the people tuning in are just wondering if the prices are going to go up or come down or what's going to happen. And again, that's very situational. Are you going to live here long enough? Because I can guarantee there's going to be some ups, and I guarantee there's going to be some downs. Now, I don't know when exactly that's all going to be, but for the long term, that's definitely something it can be worth writing out if you think you're up for it.
And real estate, it is one of those things where you can look at the past 20 years of stats and see how much that's grown. And we can say that on a normal year, we could expect to see 10% of a property value rise. Now, we're seeing that monthly, at least right now. That's a little bit, we get taken aback by that, but that's not an indication that it's going to take a dip. I think that's,
Liberty, you bring up a really interesting point. I think one thing that people can do is look at other markets that have already gone through this as far as this increased or exponential growth period. We've heard the term boom town, right? What other boom towns have gone through this historically, and how has that rise been taking place? Thank you. How has that rise happened and affected that town? And we're talking residential, commercial, everything, investments. So, because Austin isn't the first place to be discovered in the United States, right?
I love that you brought that up, because that kind of segues to my next point, talking about overvalued, overpriced. I mean, let's talk to those people from the Bay Area, from New York, from Chicago, and talk about what they've experienced in their markets. And that's kind of what's driving them here, because to them, this is a very affordable place to live. I mean, that is what we are hearing from them. So that leads me to say, what can you get for Austin's medium home value, like price? What can you get?
Before we jump into that, can we answer Patrick's, whoever would like to take it? So,
AJ, can you take this one?
Patrick asked, do you guys think property taxes will go up by 40% next year and cause investors to mass sell since they can't cover the cost?
This is a really good question.
Do we have a tax limit?
No, not on only your homestead
property. So if you have a homestead exemption, they'll make sure that it doesn't rise more than 10%.
Yeah, but they're talking about investors specifically. So if you have 10 properties, one might be protected, but what about the others? So the question, I think one way to answer it is, are rent prices going to correlate with the increase in taxes? And
I've seen rent rates a little flat. I mean, it's a very general statement depending on the area. I also know investors that are selling just to get away from that. But yeah, property taxes.
There's a gap in time.
Yeah, property taxes are definitely going to be a factor in this whole thing for sure.
And Patrick, so I think long story short, we need to discuss this more and maybe call upon a real estate tax professional and get their expertise advice. So thank you for that question. That is a really, really good question. I hope not for all of our.
I see Matt's beard and it's shiny, and that means he has something to say.
It's basically, I agree with all of you. Could they go up a certain percentage? Yes. I've had my own investment properties that went up not quite 40, but not too far from it. And the answer is it passes through the consumer. At that point, when you look at an overall net operating income for any investment and recalculate your bang versus buck, the renter is going to inevitably make up that gap at the first renewal. That's unfortunate for a lot of renters who still are having a tough time making ends meet, and some that are unable to make their payment. But that is the life of an investment property and life as a renter. I don't think, Patrick, that you're going to see this onslaught of properties loosen up because property taxes go up. You may see a few, but it's not going to be much of a blip on the radar, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, people could also hold on to the value itself. They could start paying off more principal. There's a lot of different ways to combat that.
Well, yeah, that is some really, really good input on that. So without further ado, who has some listings to show us?
Dibs.
I do. I have one.
Dibs.
Okay, let's do it first. So yes, I mean, because I get this question all the time. 500K. What can you get?
Millwood. All right.
We're in Milwood, Murchison Middle School, right?
That's a small house,
we're in
by the
office
way, to some
specifically. Well, right, it is. So this is the question of value, right? So it's 1,400 square feet, built in the mid 80s. Okay, you're less than a quarter of an acre square foot for your lot. Price per square foot, $357. list price 500,000. Then you have to ask yourself, is it actually going to sell for 500,000? Okay. And then the other thing, you know, I always whine about, is there an HOA and what's the tax? HOA, none. Tax rate, 2.2. So right now, you have to decide for yourself if a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square foot is valuable. Let's take a super quick look at it. Okay. Looks like it was a flip.
I feel like that's
Right,
virtual staging.
That is virtual
Yeah.
staging.
Oh yeah, some of it is definitely virtual staging, but let's pay attention. So we've got small tile in the you know, foyer area. Then we've got carpet downstairs, popcorn ceilings. Looks like they haven't replaced that. Windows could probably use an update. Okay. So yeah, I think the yard is really important.
That looks good
So
for the paper lot number.
Well,
size.
and that's my question to people, right? So anybody who's watching and continues to watch or listening on Spotify, let us know what you think about this property. Would you consider this overvalued or just on par or undervalued? That's the question we're asking today.
Can you show us the map view for those who don't know where Milwood is?
It's in Northwest Austin, and I think the value, again, you know, we're following where the money's at, right?
So I think the better way, just because it opens up a new window, the better way would be to say what it's near, right? You're not far from the Domain. You're not far from the new Apple campus. And when I say not far, I'm talking 10 minutes in
like I
light
consider
traffic.
this Central North.
Central North, exactly.
Central Northwest.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. So that is this valuable is the question on hand. So tell us what you think about, is this valuable?
In my personal opinion, I mean, the location from an investing standpoint, you know, it sounds valuable to me because I say scoop it up while you can. Without doing a CMA, of course, I can't be 100% sure, but.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to consider, again, depends on if you're buying short-term, long-term, but when Ian was talking about other areas, I think about an Apple is close up the road, 183 there, and you start thinking about different tech employers in a Bay Area and how far they have to drive away from Apple. Then you get your like Palo Altos and San Jose's. This is really close to major employers. It's in between Apple and downtown. What do you think, Matthew? 500 for that?
It's what is it going to be worth later, right? I'm a click and buy and hold and sell kind of guy, right? Guy. So
I like that too.
It's those houses that were built in that neighborhood are good bones. Mm-hmm. Everything else can be replenished, replaced, fixed, painted. You know, countertops, flooring, and paint goes a long way. Scrape off some popcorn, and you could really raise your kids in a well-established neighborhood that you're not too far away from work. They grow up 10 years later, that 500 is no longer 500. Right?
Yeah, 750
paying their
or more
tuition.
Correct. So what's the other reasons why? And I love that you guys were talking about what's around there. What's the other reasons why? It's got to make sense to buy a home and cut the check.
So for you, would you say this is a better primary purchase or better?
I think it'd be just a fantastic investment purchase. I think that putting somebody there, that neighborhood, by the way, Milwood is. I grew up in Austin. I've lived here since I was 9. That was very much a family area, and right now, because of the turn, that is a good investment area. But I think you could make it both, or either. Let me say, and either way, you'd be fine at 500.
I agree.
Please, can we read Luis's comment?
Luis Meza pops up with a question saying, with the statement, prices currently seem on par, I wouldn't expect 30% over. And I love that point because when people ask, are every home, are they going 100K over? No, they are not. Some properties are already priced according to that system there. So make sure you have your realtor or one of us do a very thorough market analysis of the neighborhood for you so you can get a good idea, because that's really true.
I like this question. I would say this is Matt's question. Let me know what you think.
Are you guys seeing appraisals catch up with what homes are selling for, or are they still off? Great question. The gap is closing between list price, contract, and appraisal. That gap is closing depending on where the house is. I've had one in Fredericksburg, didn't make. It missed by a little bit, but it's still appraised for 19% above original list.
Wow.
But it didn't quite go as high as they went, which was roughly 30% above list. So that gap is closing now that appraisers have more comparable sales, also known as comps, to work with over the year and a little bit that we've had to catch up. It always takes appraisers a while and comparables a while to catch up to what homes are selling for, especially when we just discussed, JJ just discussed a moving target that's increasing by double digits every single month. So yes, it's closing. Is it infallible? No. Appraisers do what they can to find the value, but keep in mind that appraisers have no feelings. They have no feelings. They have to go off of the data. They can't put into this competition in the market's hot. They have to go off the data. So if you have the carbon copy house that is closed yesterday in that same block that is making value, then that is a true, good, solid comparable. They can only do with what they have on the books and what's been shown as closed.
Yes.
Just an FYI, we've got about 7 minutes.
Oh, we're running out of time. We need to make.
I know we got to hurry up and get through some houses.
So I have to show you mine because mine's.
Go for it.
Okay. So I have now. Look at this, guys. I'm looking at this one. $495. We are
That's
like
a good area. East side.
East side. So
O2.
talking about walking to coffee shops.
Oh my gosh. This has been on the market for, I feel like I've shown this a long time ago.
I will be here this afternoon. I have scheduled a showing. I'm going to go over there and, unlocked. I'm going to pay.
You got to log into your website.
I got to log in. I thought I did log in. Well,
that's a cool little street on the east side, by the way, because the east side homes, it's kind of like newer for the east side for O2. That little Glen Court space. It's a cool spot. It's like by the ACC over there.
Here we go, guys. Yes, great spot. Very, very move-in ready house. Could be investment property. Could be move on in there. Live in it. Live your happy life. Walk to the coffee shops. Very cute. There's a decent size yard. This is a 3-2. I did do a market analysis for this home. So it is priced at $495, but comps, the comparable sales in the past 3 months are showing that it will probably sell for close to around $550.
It's all electric. That's an important point.
That is an important point. Not having gas appliances is definitely something that is a deal breaker for some people. So, and it's a little bit of a tiny home, but I mean, you could bike downtown.
Charles says, Leander, baby. I just came from Leander. The prices are, there was just a report that the prices in Leander are now on par or have exceeded the median home price in Austin. So that's an important note as well.
A lot of Williamson County is growing at a higher percentage increase than Travis. Not same dollar amount, but a higher percentage increase.
I got a comment on Sanjeev. Yes, Sanjeev, but guess what? I can power the house with the truck. How about that?
I love it. Well, guys, we have about 5 minutes left.
JJ needs one.
All right, since you went kind of central north and you went east, I just went south. I happened to pick it says it's a condominium, but this is the it's pretty far south of Manchaca. Enclave.
It's Manchaca, man.
Manchaca. These are Lennar built. You got over 2,000 square feet, built in 2015, and condo 0.193. listed at 525.
So this might be one of those standalone condos that it's
Standalone condos, yes.
Mhm. Which these are cool.
What's our HOA and tax rate?
HOAs, $98 a month. Tax rate, 1.7,
That's great.
1.79.
Ooh, that's a sexy number.
Ooh,
When it comes to
Matt-
taxes, that's a sexy number.
I feel like this HOA kind of offsets it, but it's all good. You get stuff with HOA.
Not bad.
Hey, Matt, if somebody wanted to buy this, how much do they have to put down? I know you hate that question.
Depends on the qualification. Anywhere from 0 to minimum 5%, 3.5% in the middle, with loan amounts for FHA being at 416,300, or loan amounts being for conventional at 548,250 or below. Yeah, minimum down payments. I don't know who keeps telling people they need 20% for a house, but you don't.
Yeah, curious. Like for 0%, let's assume they're a VA, right?
Yeah.
Are you closing a ton of those, or what's your take
Not
on
a
like?
ton, but I never have closed a ton. You're going to get me to guess, and I've closed probably 4 or 5 so far this year. Vets, they earned it. There's pros and cons of all loan programs, so
Right.
it's not a one size fits all. But
Mhm.
veterans have a warm place in my heart, and they've earned their VA eligibility. So if they want to look into taking advantage of it, it's a great program, but it may not be the only program that they have available.
Right on. Definitely.
Just kind of FYI, I have a VA loan closing next week, but the only way I was able to make it work is because it was a new build that we got under contract about 4 months ago.
Yes, I actually closed a USDA loan with a new build. So you guys definitely need to look into all the different options. Even when you're working with a new build construction, they'll try to get you to use their preferred lender. Call Matthew. Let's just make sure you're getting into the right product.
By the way, Charles Wheat said, shout out to veterans, by the way. Veterans, thank you for your service. And as we're going into Memorial Day weekend, definitely thinking about the veterans there.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yes, I'm up all the time, Luis, all the time.
This was a very eye-opening topic, and I'm walking away. I don't know about you guys, but I feel hopeful.
Hey, let's make some predictions on market going up and down in the next few years.
I think we did, like with anything, like sometimes technology, we make a huge jump and then we'll slowly track up. I think that's kind of what's happened.
You must be talking about iPhones.
I'm talking about our state of mind, like, everything. Like it feels like there's a huge jump and then it's slowly, and then a huge jump or a huge jump down. So that's what I think. I think we're going past this huge jump and then we're going to start steadily rising.
What's the date you think it's going to slow down?
I think that it will always be going up, but I think that, I don't know, a year from now.
Am I frozen?
Oh, we lost Ian there.
Too much pricing velocity.
Too much pricing velocity. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We will catch you next Friday. EVs. I don't even know what that is.
Electric vehicles.
Okay.
Just talking crap. I love it.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you for having me.
Ian and Liberty here. We love seeing you guys, and we'll join you next Friday.
All right. See y'all later. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.